USC guard Bronny James, right? The news is going around. Everybody's talking about what's going on with Bronny James. He has officially declared for the NBA draft while simultaneously entering the transfer portal. So it's looking like he's leaving USC. That's one thing we can say at the least. At the least, it's looking like he's strongly considering leaving USC, not returning, and weighing his options. But me personally, as you can see in the title, I think this is a bad decision on part of Bronny James. Him entering the draft, that decision on one side, that decision, in my opinion, was a bad decision. It was a bad decision. It was a decision that, in my opinion, seemed to be very forced, rushed, and premature. And I feel like Bronny James, I really feel like Bronny James is rushing his development as a player because of what his dad wants. His dad, LeBron James wants to play with his son. That's one of his biggest goals before he retires. He wants to play with his son, which would be an amazing feat. Very difficult, but for LeBron James, it's definitely possible. But with that being said, I feel like Bronny would be making a mistake by rushing his development, entering the draft prematurely, simply because he wants that shot of playing with his dad. Yes, it would be spectacular, but Bronny, this is your career. This isn't your dad's career. This isn't anybody else's career. This is Bronny James' career. And for him to come out of the draft first year, freshman, he went through the heart troubles, barely even played the season. Then he was able to play. He didn't perform spectacularly, like all the pressure was put on him to be spectacular, but considering the odds he had to overcome, it makes sense. So, with that being said, like, he had so many odds going into the season. He was able to play. He beat the odds on that. Like, a lot of people who have gone through what he went through wouldn't have even been back that fast, but he was, right? So props to him on that. But when he got back, you have to call it what it is. He did not perform the way an NBA draft pick should perform, or NBA player period should perform. And the reason I'm saying it like that is because he's entering the draft, like I said, prematurely. He's not even a key role player on USC, let alone a starter. Let's call it what it is. He needs the development. He needs to take his time with this. There's no reason to rush it. There's absolutely no reason to rush it. Maybe there are some factors and reasons, but those factors and reasons aren't good reasons for yourself. When you weigh your decisions, when you weigh your options, you have to consider your effect when you make those decisions. When you're making those decisions, you can't just think this is something that is temporary. This is a permanent decision, and I really hope that Bronny reconsiders, because yes, he's already done it. He's chosen to enter the draft. He's chosen to simultaneously enter the transfer portal. But me personally, I feel like the best for Bronny James would have been to do neither of those things. Don't enter the draft. You're clearly not ready. 2, don't enter the transfer portal because you're going to be learning a whole new system. After everything that happened concerning Bronny James, after everything that happened, I think the best decision for Bronny James would have been to stay at USC. Stay at USC. Work with your coaches. Work in the offseason. Work on getting back to that player you were in high school, and then work on excelling that. You know what I'm saying? Work on your game. Like, it's progression. You know what I'm saying? It's progression. Everything takes time. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be patient with it. There was no reason for Bronny James to rush this. Absolutely no reason. And yet, I get it. Want to play with your dad? He wants to play with you. That would be amazing. It would be history making. But to make that decision out of pure imagination of what it could be like. Nah, you have to weigh the factors. I'll put it as simple as it could be. I'll put it as blunt as it could be. Bronny James isn't ready for the NBA. He's not. That's not a disrespect to him. It's simply saying that as a freshman in college basketball, he's not ready. He's not near the player he's going to be. But if he takes the time to progress his game, I think he can be a great player. Me personally, I think he would do well for himself by staying 4 years, but I understand that that's a long time, a long period, and like I said, it's clear playing with his dad. I think that this decision is heavily factored by that idea. So with that being said, I don't think he's going to stay all 4 years. I really do think he'll probably do 3 years at most, and possibly 2 years at most. Possibly if he doesn't get drafted or he doesn't withdraw from the draft, he could possibly come back next season to USC or transfer to whatever college he wants to go to and ball out there and possibly enter the draft his sophomore season. But even with that, I really do believe if there was no factor of, hey, LeBron wants to play with his son, yada, 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 if there was no factor of that, I personally think Bronny James would do best for Bronny James by doing all 4 years. He needs the development. He needs the development as a player. And I just feel like, why not? I mean, you're coming from a family with bread, so it's not like you got to rush to the NBA to get your pockets right. He doesn't need to do that. I mean, yeah, it's always good to have your own. You got it made, so you can have a little bit of patience when it comes to that. But yeah, I feel like Bronny would do himself a disservice. He's doing himself. I think he made a mistake with this decision, and we're gonna see how it goes. We're gonna see. But definitely, when it comes to the draft and Bronny, yeah, there could possibly be teams, to go ahead and reach for him. Just go ahead and say, we're gonna draft Bronny, because that could leverage the chances of LeBron coming to your team. Yes, we understand that, but let's be real. Bronny James isn't a first-round pick in the NBA draft, and I just don't see him as a prospect worth drafting. I simply don't. He's not there yet. If there was any other player in college basketball not named Bronny James, not with LeBron James as their father, they're not getting drafted. I mean, we have to call it what it is, so definitely we have to acknowledge Bronny needs more development. But if he's going to go to the draft, me personally, I would love for the Lakers to pick him up just to have that moment. For sure, it would definitely be cool. And overall, I want you guys to comment. What are your thoughts? Do you think Bronny James made a mistake? Do you think he's making the right decision for himself and not just for himself and his dad, but for himself? He has to make the right decision for his future. Do you guys think he's doing that? Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, as well as follow to the Fourth and Goal Sports Instagram page. I'm your host, Tyrus Wilson. This is the Fourth and Goal Sports Show. Have a blessed day. Peace.